Salam sejahtera and hi, my name is Dedianaerol Gerald and currently I'm working as an account executive in Maybank Berhad. Previously I worked as an account assistant located in Kuala Lumpur for 2 years.
Hi and Assalamualaikum. I'm Zuhaira binti Rahim, one of account executive in Berhad. Previously, I'm working in PricewaterhouseCoopers PwC as an auditor for 2 years. I believe my skills and knowledge I can apply to my current job in Maybank Berhad.
Assalamualaikum and good day. I am Izmie Afiqah and I am one of the account executive of Maybank Banking Berhad. Previously, I was accountant assistant in accounting firm based on Segamat, Johor for almost 3 years. Moving forward, I will apply all of my valuable skill, experience and knowledge for this company.
Hi everyone, a very good day I wish to all of you. My name is Siti Rosmahniza binti Roslan and I'm currently working as account executive at Maybank Berhad for 2 years. Previously, I was working at Canon Marketing Malaysia Sendirian Berhad for 2 years as account executive specializing in account receivable. In Maybank, the exposure I had in accounting was different and I hope it can enhance my skill to better understand this accounting field.
Before we proceed with the financial review, let me explain a little bit about the company's background. So Maybank was established on May 1960 and the founder is from Singapore business, and Maybank Berhad is Malaysia's most valuable bank Berhad. It is the largest public listed company in Bursa Malaysia. Maybank Berhad also the largest financial service in Malaysia, which is established in the presence of Asian region. The vision of Maybank Berhad is to become a regional leader in financial services. Meanwhile, the mission of Maybank Berhad is to humanize financial services.
Now, we are moving on the management approach. We get some factors to consider having a segment reporting, which are: first, the nature of business activities; second, the existence of manager that responsible for the activities; and third is the information presented to the board of directors. So, first, the nature of the business activities. Business activity exists to produce goods or services which can be classified in several ways: consumer goods, consumer service, and capital goods. But all of the renewable and non-renewable resources of nature such as coal, crude oil, and timber. Second, the existence of the manager that responsible for the activities. Manager can provide leadership to their teams, providing a purpose and direction that employees can trust. They help employees reach their goals and handle the daily production and process of a business. They also plan the next step for managing project and potential hires. And third, information presented to the board of directors. The information provided in the board paper build trust between the board and management where it is accurate, timely, written for director, not manager, and well organized. Thus, expectation as to the delivery and content of the board paper are important component of the board policy framework. The type of business segment for Maybank Banking Berhad are retail banking, wholesale banking, and wealth banking. For retail banking is the largest earning contributor. It is the segment most people are familiar with, as it includes operations that occur in bank branch. Products involved in retail banking includes deposit, credit card, and mortgage. This segment is also known as a personal banking as it serves individuals. However, it is also targeted towards small commercial clients. Second is wholesale banking. Wholesale banking is a bank's second largest revenue generator. Capital market is another term for wholesale banking. This segment is associated with investment banking and deals with corporate and institutional clients. Corporate lending, sale and trading, and consolidation are examples of activities. Business in the wholesale banking segment typically accounts for 15% to 40% of total revenue. This is heavily influenced by the bank and market conditions. This is the most difficult segment to forecast and is typically valued at a lower multiple. And for the last one is wealth management. Wealth management is a rapidly expanding market for banks. Retail brokerage, service and asset management generate revenue. Wealth management is typically valued at a higher multiple than other segments for a variety of reasons. It is more profitable because of a lower credit requirements, lower volatility, and higher growth. The changing demographic of the population are attributed to growth. Protecting and growing savings become more important as baby boomers begin to save for retirement rather than taking out loans or mortgage. As a result, wealth management is growing faster than other business segments. Now, we are moving to the CODM and its responsibilities. What is CODM? The term Chief Operating Decision Maker identified a function, not necessarily a manager with a specific title. That function is also to allocate resources to and assess the performance of the operating segment of an entity. Often, the Chief Operating Decision Maker of an entity is Chief Executive Officer or Chief Operating Officer, but for example, it may be a group of Executive Director or other. The CODM members of Maybank Banking Berhad are Dr. Hasnita Hashim, Director of Maybank Investment Berhad, Datuk Fadli Mohammed, Chief Executive Officer, Tengku Arif Azhar bin Tengku Mohammed, Chief Operating Officer, Azrina Mahathir, Chief Financial Officer, Kevin Davis, Head Investment Banking and Advisory, Abdul Azhar bin Azhar, Head Investment Management, Naguib Hussein bin Abdul Hamid, Head of Solution, Sharif Singh Siu Ying, Chief Risk Officer, Slawati Yaakob, Head Human Capital, and for the last one is Adrian Tan Kaitan, Head Information Technology. The responsibilities of CODM are: first, to ensure that the long-term goals and aspirations of the investment banking business are in line with global banking and Maybank Group's strategy and goals. Second, is to lead the formulation of strategies and plans, short, medium, and long term, to achieve the goals of the investment banking business. Third, is to lead, guides, and advise the senior management team to achieve timely and effective execution of strategy, plan, initiative. Fourth, is to ensure management competency, including the emplacement of an effective succession plan to sustain continuity. Fifth, is to ensure that whilst the ultimate objective is maximizing shareholders' return, the social and environmental factors are not being neglected. And sixth, is to develop and maintaining strong communication program and dialogue with relevant stakeholders of the bank and providing the effective leadership to the organization.
Thank you for your explanation. To identify the reportable segment and non-reportable segment, we have to go through a few processes before we can proceed further. Before we start, we need to use a certain amount to run a few tests. The test that we are going to use consists of quantitative threshold test, or better known as 10% threshold test. And the other test that we may use is consists of 75% of total revenue. According to MFRS8, if a particular product or service of the entity is significant and constitute as an identifiable business in which the entity operates, then the product or service would be reported as a separate operating segment. However, not all operating segments need to be separately reported. Operating segments are only required to be reportable if they exceed quantitative threshold. Two or more operating segments may be combined or aggregate and reported as one if certain conditions are satisfied. Now, I would like to highlight that the 10% threshold test may consist of three important material that need to be included. Firstly, the test may include revenue basis, profit or loss basis, and lastly, asset basis, which these three must meet the 10% threshold test or exceed 10% to be reported as reportable segment and must be disclosed separately. In our company, Maybank Berhad, we have decided to consider revenue basis in calculating our reporting segment. Therefore, 10% threshold test will be evaluated based on our reported revenue from sales to extend customer for our reporting segment. Next, here shows an original segment revenue as extracted based on 2021 as per Maybank Berhad annual report. According to the calculation shown, after performing 10% threshold test on the revenue basis, we may see there is only 3 revenue bases that meet requirement of 10% threshold test, which are community financial services, which the result is 59%, and also corporate banking and global markets gets 36% of threshold test, as well as insurance and takaful, which is 11% on threshold test. Since other revenue basis, which is investment banking, asset management, head office and others, does not meet the requirement of 10% threshold test, it will be combined together and will be disclosed as all other categories in segmental report letter. Next, after we all done by determining the reportable segment, we must continue to our next test, which is 75% test of threshold, by which will be calculated as total external revenue of reportable segment divided by total external revenue of all segments and times by 100. The reportable segment of 75% threshold must be at least 75% of total external revenue of all segments in our company. As shown in the table, the total of tests after conducting 75% threshold, the reportable segment are 105%, which in here, Maybank Berhad has exceeded the 75% test. Therefore, no additional segment will be reported. However, to meet 4 reportable segments to be reported as 10% threshold test in Maybank Berhad, we have to consider another adjustment of operating segment, which shown in the table. As you can see, there is an additional segment which is shareholder units compared to the old segment. From the result of the adjustment, Maybank Berhad has 4 reportable segments with 3 non-reportable segments, which will change the reportable status. As per calculation, by using 10% threshold test of revenue basis, we may see shareholder units has met 10% requirement. It comprises of community financial services for 59%, corporate banking and global market 36%, insurance and takaful 11%, as well as shareholder units 10%. While investment banking, asset management, head office and others will be combined together and be reported as all other segments as it fails to meet the 10% of threshold test requirements. However, Maybank Berhad has missing the investment banking, asset management, head office and others in the calculation. Therefore, if Maybank Berhad believe to use 75% test instead of 10%, the 75% test result has include the revenue basis and meet the requirement of segmental report.
In conclusion, what we can see from today's segment reporting can be summarized. There are several advantages and disadvantages to companies for using segment reporting. One of the benefits that we can see from reporting this segment is transparency, which provides investors with complete details about the unit's profit. In addition, reporting this segment helps organizations make better decisions because planning for expansion or diversifications should be done based on segment results. Even with reporting, this segment can provide a better understanding of the financial statements. In fact, profit and loss making units can be easily identified with the help for segment reporting. Also, it helps in optimal resource utilization and better performance. It helps potential investors in making better investment decisions. Next segment reporting also help the shareholders of Maybank Berhad to get a clear understanding of the fluctuations that could impact overall figures. For example, if Maybank Berhad report much higher than expected earnings, segment reporting shows where those earnings come from. The shareholder may look at the same report to decide if the numbers are sustainable. It is designed to help investors better understanding the company and its future cash flow. One of the disadvantages of segment reporting is there are many disclosures required in the case of segmental reporting. Hence, it's a time-consuming process. Everyone can see segment reporting. Besides that, the data is misinterpreted. There is a lot of data presented that can be misinterpreted by investors or creditors. Segment reporting may rely too much on short-term figures. For example, companies use short-term figures and ignore long-term figures to report their segments, even though they know what it can have a long-term impact on their company. Finally, using the segment reports loss opportunities. Maybank Limited should be prepared to see possible losses or some related difficulties to segment reporting. Investors or creditors will see directly and most likely be seeing this segment reporting. They will withdraw from continuing any activity with Maybank Berhad.
Now I will explain about the basis preparations of interim report. So this report is prepared under historical cost. It must comply with MFRS134, which is required by Bursa. Accounting policies and method of computation are consistent with the latest audited annual financial statement. MFRS138 interim reporting financial reporting adopts a discrete method, a basis for preparation of the interim report. Each interim report should be considered as a separate accounting period for the annual cycle. An approach that revenue and expense item be measured and recognized to the same way that annual financial statements are prepared as per discrete method. Moving on to the Maybank's accounting policy. So Maybank Berhad has a lot of accounting policy. The first one is MFRS138, which is intangible asset. The table explains about the summary of Maybank's policies of intangible asset. So it will be measured initially at its cost and subsequently at its cost less accumulated amortization. And meanwhile, the intangible asset with indefinite useful life will not be amortized. Hence, it will be tested for impairment. The second accounting policies adopted by Maybank Berhad is MFRS 116, which is property, plant, and equipment. It will be measured initially at cost and subsequently at cost less accumulated depreciation and accumulated impairment loss. Property, plant, and equipment will be depreciated on a straight line basis over the useful life, except for the land, since it has unlimited useful life.
Next, the types of interim reports prepared by the company. The content that should be present in the interim reports including first, all each heading and subtotal that was included and in its most recent annual financial statement. Second, the selected explanatory notes required by the MFRS134 interim financial reporting that focus on the significant change in financial position since last reporting date. 3. The basic and diluted earnings per share on the face of the statement if the entity presents the item of profit or loss in a separate statement. And the last, the report should also be prepared on a consolidated basis if the most recent annual financial statement was consolidated statement. The next slide, we can see examples of interim report by Maybank Berhad.
Now, we are moving on a period of current and comparative of each statement prepared by company of Maybank Berhad. As we look at the statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income, for current interim, it has 3-month reporting period from 1st April 2021 until 30 June 2021. For cumulative year to date, it has 6-month reporting period from 1st January 2021 until 30 June 2021. For comparative current interim, it has 3-month reporting period, which is from 1st April 2020 until 30 June 2020. And for comparative year to date, it has 6-month reporting period from 1st January 2020 until 30 June 2020. Then, for statement of financial position, the current interim has 3-month reporting period, which is from 1st April 2021 until 30 June 2021. And for comparative period end of year, it has 12 months, which is a year, reporting period from 1st January 2020 until 31 December 2020. Lastly, for the statement of cash flow, the cumulative date has 6-month reporting period, which from 1st January 2021 until 30 June 2021. And for comparative period year to date, it has 6-month reporting period, which from 1st January 2020 until 30 June 2020.
But not least, before we ended our meeting, we would like to propose few adjustments that may related to intangible asset. On 1st January 2021, a software costing 200,000 that was purchased on 1st January 2016 with the expected useful life of 10 years was disposed. Its carrying value on the date was 100,000. Then on 14th January 2021, a new software was acquired at the cost of 500,000, which is expected to be used for 10 years. After adjustment, we may see the cost as at 30th June 2021 now costs 10,741,905,000. As for accumulated, the balance now becoming 2,988,750,025. And now the carrying value of the intangible asset has become 6,111,658,750 after deducting the cost and accumulated amortization losses. The second adjustment that we can propose is related to property, plant and equipment. On 30th June 2021, a building with fair value of 800,000 was transferred from investment property to owner occupied. There was a change in use of the building, so the amount of PPE will be adjusted. As we can see, the amount of PPE has increased to 800,000 while the amount of investment property has decreased to 800,000. Before the adjustment, the amount of property, plant and equipment, investment property and intangible asset is 2,165,691,000, while investment property is 941,865, and lastly, intangible asset is 6,643,932 respectively. After adjustment, some amount has taken into consideration, which now PPE is 2,166,491,000. Investment property now is 941,065, and lastly, for intangible asset is 6,111,658,75 respectively. I think we have come to the end of our presentation. That's all from our group. Thank you and have a nice day.